As we enter our 60s, life presents a series of changes, some expected, others more surprising. One of these transformations involves how we choose to spend our social time. For decades, visiting friends and family may have been a source of joy, a way to stay connected, and an essential part of our routine. We might have looked forward to these interactions, whether it was a coffee with an old friend, a family gathering, or a quiet afternoon with a loved one. But as we age, it becomes crucial to reassess these habits and think carefully about whether these frequent visits are truly benefiting our well-being. What if, instead of energizing us, these visits start to feel exhausting? What if they become a source of stress rather than joy? As much as we may love our loved ones, it's important to recognize that our emotional and physical energy changes as we grow older. The demands of socializing, whether it's traveling, hosting, or simply maintaining the conversation, can sometimes take a toll. Moreover, as we become more mindful of our health and happiness, we might realize that reducing the frequency of visits could actually be the key to enhancing both. Could it be that fewer, but more meaningful, social interactions might better nourish us than the pressure to keep up with frequent get-togethers? Could it be that making space for quiet moments, reflection, and personal time could help restore our energy, bringing us more joy in the long run? In this video, we'll dive deep into 5 key reasons why limiting social visits after 60 can be a wise and necessary choice. By understanding these factors, such as prioritizing self-care, maintaining emotional balance, reducing stress, improving mental clarity, and even fostering stronger, more genuine connections, you'll be empowered to make decisions that align with your needs. With this knowledge, you'll be able to maintain your energy, emotional well-being, and overall quality of life in a way that works for you. Before we continue, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button and join the Senior Life Unlocked community. We share insights and tips on how to thrive in your later years, helping you navigate this exciting phase of life with confidence. So don't miss out. Subscribe today and stay informed about more valuable content to make the most of your senior years. Now, let's explore why this approach could be exactly what you need. Reason 1. Respecting personal boundaries. The power of boundaries in later life. One of the greatest gifts that come with aging is wisdom, the wisdom to understand what truly matters, what brings us peace, and most importantly, the ability to set healthy boundaries. As we grow older, we often become more in tune with our own needs, and one of the most significant of these is our need for solitude and meaningful connection. Unlike the busy days of our younger years, when social engagements were a common source of joy, we may now find that too much social interaction can have the opposite effect. Take Mary's story as an example. At 65, Mary had always been a social butterfly. She thrived on gatherings, family reunions, and visits from friends. It was a part of her identity, and she was always at the center of every event. But as time passed, Mary began to notice something unsettling. The same social interactions that once brought her joy now left her feeling drained and overwhelmed. After each visit, she would feel physically exhausted, mentally overstimulated, and longed for quiet, peaceful moments to recover. At first, Mary struggled with guilt. She wondered if she was becoming antisocial or failing as a friend or family member. After all, she had always been the one to host gatherings and keep the social fabric of her family intact. But soon, she had a realization. Her energy was not infinite. She couldn't keep giving of herself in the same way she had in the past. She needed to prioritize self-care, not out of selfishness, but out of necessity. She came to understand that setting boundaries was a sign of self-respect, not a rejection of the people she loved. Why saying no is a form of self-care. For many older adults, the idea of declining invitations can be difficult. There's a fear of disappointing loved ones or being seen as distant. However, learning to say no is not about rejecting people. It's about protecting our emotional and physical well-being. It's a powerful form of self-care that can actually strengthen our relationships in the long run. Think about it for a moment. How often have you agreed to a visit or gathering out of obligation, even though you didn't truly feel like going? It's common to put others' needs before our own, especially when it comes to family and friends. But by saying no when it's necessary, we are able to engage with others on our own terms. This makes every interaction more meaningful because we approach it with a refreshed mind and a genuine desire to connect. Moreover, Respecting personal boundaries isn't just about our own needs. It's about recognizing that boundaries go both ways. Just as we need time for solitude and rest, our loved ones, especially younger family members, need space as well. They may be balancing demanding careers, raising children, or managing their own busy lives. By respecting each other's time and energy, we can create a more balanced, thoughtful dynamic where everyone feels appreciated and understood. In a world that's often filled with the pressure to stay constantly connected, understanding the importance of boundaries allows us to have more meaningful, fulfilling interactions. It enables us to focus on quality over quantity, which is essential for maintaining both our mental and emotional health as we grow older. Reason 2. Physical and health considerations. The energy drain of socializing. As we age, our bodies naturally undergo changes that affect our stamina, flexibility, and overall resilience. We might not notice these shifts immediately, but over time, the demands of everyday activities begin to feel more taxing. While socializing is still an essential part of life, it often requires more effort than we realize. The process of getting ready, traveling to events, engaging in conversations, and maintaining social decorum can all be physically draining. What once seemed like a natural part of life may now feel like a more significant commitment, one that demands more energy than it used to. Take John's story, for example. At 70 years old, John was a retiree who had always enjoyed hosting family gatherings. He took great pleasure in preparing meals, entertaining his guests, and making everyone feel at home. His house was often filled with the sounds of laughter and conversation, and he loved the role of being the center of those joyous moments. But as the years went by, something began to shift. What once felt effortless, baking, cooking, and organizing, became increasingly exhausting. He started to feel lingering fatigue after each visit, sometimes needing a full day to recover before he felt like himself again. His body was signaling him that it was no longer as easy to bounce back from these energetic social events. For many seniors, even simple tasks such as tidying up before guests arrive, preparing a meal, or hosting a gathering can feel overwhelming. This isn't a sign of weakness. It's the body's way of signaling that it needs more rest and mindful energy conservation. As our muscles become less flexible and our stamina diminishes, it's important to listen to these signals. The constant hustle of preparing for social events can drain us in ways we didn't anticipate. Why prioritizing health is essential. Ignoring these physical signals can lead to burnout, increased stress, and even long-term health complications. When we push ourselves too hard socially, we risk elevating our stress levels, which in turn can contribute to higher blood pressure, weakened immune systems, and general fatigue. These are all factors that can impact overall health and well-being in later years. Overextending oneself socially can ultimately reduce the quality of life by leaving less energy for the activities that truly bring joy and fulfillment. By setting boundaries around social engagements, seniors can preserve their physical and emotional energy for activities that nurture their well-being. Whether it's spending a quiet afternoon reading, tending to a garden, or simply enjoying a peaceful moment of solitude, prioritizing these restorative moments can be far more beneficial in the long run than overextending for the sake of social obligations. Limiting unnecessary social commitments allows us to fully embrace the moments that nourish us, ensuring that we remain physically and emotionally well-equipped for the joys that aging can bring. Reason 3. Avoiding family tensions. The delicate balance of family dynamics. Family relationships are often one of the most fulfilling aspects of life, bringing joy, love, and a deep sense of connection. As we age, maintaining close ties with children and grandchildren can feel especially important. These bonds are often a source of pride, and the joy of seeing younger generations grow and thrive is unparalleled. However, family interactions, while generally positive, can also be complex, especially when frequent visits are involved. Though we may intend for our visits to bring happiness, they can sometimes unintentionally introduce stress into family dynamics. Take Susan's story, for example. At 68, Susan was a grandmother who cherished her weekly visits to her daughter's home. She looked forward to spending time with her daughter and grandchildren, making memories and being actively involved in their lives. However, over time, Susan began to notice subtle changes in the household. Her daughter seemed more frazzled, appearing less energized and more stressed after each visit. Her son-in-law, who had always been warm and welcoming, began to seem distant and less engaged during the visits. Eventually, Susan's daughter sat down with her and confessed that the frequent visits, while coming from a place of love and affection, were becoming overwhelming for the family. Between their demanding jobs, the pressures of raising children, and maintaining the house, the constant visits were disrupting their already packed routines. Why less can be more? It's natural for grandparents to want to stay close to their children and grandchildren, to be present in their lives, and to share in the milestones of the family. These relationships are precious and provide a sense of fulfillment and joy. However, the reality is that younger family members, especially those juggling careers, household responsibilities, and parenting duties, have limited time and energy. What might seem like a well-intentioned visit to us can feel like an additional stressor for them, even if they don't express it openly. The key lies in recognizing that less can often be more. Instead of focusing on frequent visits or the quantity of time spent together, we can shift our attention to making those moments truly meaningful. A well-planned visit, where everyone is mentally present, relaxed, and enjoying each other's company, is far more beneficial than a rushed or overwhelming gathering. This approach allows for better quality interactions, where the focus is on creating lasting memories rather than simply fulfilling the obligation of a visit. By being mindful of family members' schedules and emotional bandwidth, we can ensure that our time together remains a source of joy rather than stress. Reducing the frequency of visits allows family members to maintain their routines while still nurturing the relationships that matter most. This balance fosters healthier, more harmonious family dynamics, where everyone feels respected and appreciated. Reason 4. Economic differences and social pressures. How financial gaps create unspoken tension. As we age, our financial situations can change dramatically. In the earlier years of life, we may have shared common goals with our friends, worked similar jobs, and enjoyed similar lifestyles. But as we enter retirement or transition into different stages of life, financial circumstances can vary widely. Some friends may have secured a comfortable retirement, enjoying the fruits of a successful career, while others may be living on a fixed budget, managing their expenses more carefully. This economic disparity, though often unspoken, can create a sense of discomfort or unease during social visits. Take Tom's story, for instance. Tom, a retired engineer, loved staying in touch with his old friends. For years, he had enjoyed catching up with them, reminiscing about the past, and sharing stories. However, as time passed, Tom began to notice a shift in his feelings. He started to feel uneasy when visiting certain friends whose lifestyles were more affluent. His friends often hosted lavish dinners in their elegant homes, drove luxury cars, and shared exciting stories about frequent vacations abroad. While no one ever openly commented on Tom's financial situation, the subtle contrast between his lifestyle and theirs weighed heavily on his mind. He couldn't help but feel out of place, as if he was constantly measuring himself against their success. This situation wasn't unique to Tom. Many seniors experience similar feelings when socializing with others who have more financial freedom. It's easy to fall into a trap of comparison, especially when the outward signs of success, such as grand homes, expensive gifts, or extravagant travel, are visible. Yet, these comparisons are often silent, unspoken, and can lead to feelings of inadequacy or self-doubt. Why simplicity is key. Friendships, at their core, should be based on shared values, common interests, and emotional connections, not on financial comparisons. True friendships are about mutual respect, support, and understanding, not measuring success by material wealth. When social visits are dominated by displays of affluence, they can create unnecessary pressure. Seniors, in particular, can find it draining to engage in situations that highlight economic differences rather than offer meaningful connection. By recognizing and limiting visits that tend to create economic pressure, seniors can avoid these feelings of discomfort and focus on relationships that bring joy, support, and emotional fulfillment. For example, spending time with friends who value simple pleasures, like sharing a homemade meal, going for a walk, or reminiscing about shared experiences, can be far more rewarding than attending events that revolve around wealth or status. These interactions offer emotional support and allow individuals to feel valued for who they are, rather than for what they have. In the end, The key to maintaining fulfilling relationships in later life is to focus on what truly matters: connection, shared experiences, and the emotional bonds that endure beyond material wealth. By simplifying social interactions and being mindful of the economic pressures that may arise, seniors can enjoy more authentic, supportive friendships that enhance their overall well-being. Reason 5. Prioritizing emotional well-being. The power of solitude and reflection. As we age, our emotional and mental well-being becomes more important than ever. For many of us, social gatherings and interactions were once a major source of joy and connection. We thrived on the energy of others, the exchange of ideas, and the companionship that came with group activities. However, as the years go by, our needs evolve. What once felt invigorating can gradually become overwhelming. Take Margaret, for example. At 72, she had always been an active participant in social gatherings, whether it was meeting friends for coffee or attending family celebrations. She was always at the heart of the action, enjoying the company of others and cherishing these moments of connection. However, as time passed, Margaret began to notice a shift within herself. The gatherings that used to energize her now left her feeling mentally scattered and emotionally drained. What had once been an exciting part of her routine now felt like an obligation, and the constant hustle of socializing began to take its toll. Margaret realized that, more than ever, she craved solitude. She needed time away from the noise and the busyness of social engagements to reconnect with herself. This experience is not unique to Margaret. For many older adults, there comes a point when solitude becomes a vital part of maintaining mental and emotional health. Taking time for self-reflection, peace, and mindfulness allows individuals to recharge and rejuvenate. Without these moments of personal space, over-socialization can lead to mental fatigue, stress, and even anxiety. The constant need to engage with others can feel exhausting, leaving little room for the internal reflection that is so important as we grow older. Why protecting mental health is non-negotiable. Protecting one's mental health is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Especially in our later years, learning to say no to constant social engagements is not about rejecting loved ones or isolating oneself, but rather about preserving one's emotional well-being. By choosing to engage in fewer, but more meaningful social interactions, seniors can prevent feelings of overwhelm and exhaustion. These carefully chosen moments allow for deeper connections that are far more fulfilling and enriching. When we give ourselves permission to take breaks from the demands of social life, we allow ourselves the space to reset. This allows us to be fully present and enjoy the company of others when we do choose to interact. By nurturing our own emotional needs, we ensure that our relationships remain positive and healthy, rather than strained by emotional burnout. In the end, making space for solitude and reflection is a practice in self-care. It allows us to recharge, protect our mental health, and foster more meaningful and fulfilling connections with others when the time is right. Prioritizing emotional well-being is not only crucial for personal peace but is also essential for maintaining lasting, healthy relationships as we age. Embracing a new social balance. Aging is often misunderstood as a period of inevitable isolation, but in reality, it's about finding a new balance between social engagement and personal well-being. It's not about withdrawing from the world, rather, it's about consciously choosing how and when to participate in social activities. As we grow older, our needs change, and with those changes comes the opportunity to reshape how we interact with others. The key is learning to embrace the idea that limiting visits is not about rejecting friends and family. It's about prioritizing self-care, preserving mental peace, and nurturing meaningful relationships. As we age, it becomes essential to be mindful of our energy levels and mental health. Every invitation, every gathering, requires a certain investment of time, energy, and emotion. It's easy to fall into the trap of feeling obligated to say yes to every social event. But that can quickly lead to exhaustion, stress, and even resentment. When we engage in social activities without considering our own needs, it can leave us feeling depleted rather than rejuvenated. That's why it's important to make intentional choices about when, where, and how we engage with others. Think about it. There's no shame in saying no to an invitation if it doesn't align with your needs or well-being. By being more selective about the visits we attend, we allow ourselves to maintain our energy and reduce unnecessary stress. We can choose to spend more time with those who truly nourish us. Engaging in conversations that add value to our lives, rather than feeling like we're simply going through the motions of social obligations. This doesn't mean we cut ourselves off from others, but rather that we create space for deeper, more rewarding connections that contribute positively to our emotional health. So, the next time you receive an invitation, take a moment to reflect before you respond. Pause and ask yourself, will this visit nourish my well-being or will it drain my energy? It's a simple question, but the answer might surprise you. Being mindful of how we spend our social time allows us to prioritize quality over quantity. And in doing so, we can cultivate richer, more fulfilling relationships. If you found this perspective helpful, consider subscribing to the Senior Life Unlocked community. We share tips and insights on how to thrive in your later years, helping you make the most of your time and relationships. By subscribing, you'll stay updated on more practical advice that empowers you to take charge of your well-being in this exciting stage of life.